federal government. 27, Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia, 1787. Originally, they're going to revise the articles, but it's just way too hard, too much would need to be done, so they just write a whole new constitution. They just kind of abandon the articles and just write a whole new one. It does provide a stronger federal government. We get the three branches of legislative, judicial, executive. What is this? We get the compromises, the Great Compromise, because we had the Virginia plan and the New Jersey plan. So they come up with the Great Compromise, where we would have the Senate, and then every state gets 2, and then the House of Representatives is based on population.
Oh wait, the branches?
Yes.
Not judicial. Yes, that's what you mean.
Yeah.
We also get the 3/5 compromise, where you can count 3/5 of your slave population towards your population total in order to give you more representatives. So essentially, slaves are 3/5 of a person. It's written by James Madison. The Bill of Rights will come later. 28, the Federalist Papers are published in 1787 to 1788. The 3 main writers are Alexander Hamilton, John Jay, and James Madison. They're in support of the Constitution, saying states should ratify the Constitution. Those 3 say the new Constitution will prevent abuse of power. The Federalists are also going to follow a loose interpretation of the Constitution. The Anti-Federalists will follow a stricter interpretation, more literal. The Federalists follow a loose interpretation. The Anti-Federalists will follow a stricter interpretation. 29, new government is created. George Washington becomes president in the first election. John Adams, who came in second place, is vice president. Thomas Jefferson is Secretary of State. Alexander Hamilton is the first Secretary of the Treasury. And there's that big Hamiltonian versus Jeffersonian debate between interpretations of the Constitution, the ideas of how government should be run. Number 29, George Washington becomes president. John Adams becomes vice president because he had the second highest number of votes in the election. Thomas Jefferson is appointed Secretary of State. That's mostly because he is the best at diplomacy. Where am I? Alexander Hamilton becomes the first Secretary of the Treasury. And then there's that big Hamiltonian versus Jeffersonian debate over interpretations of the Constitution, what can and cannot be done, ideas of politics.
And then the bank.
Yes, that's actually number 30. With Hamilton's appointment of Secretary of the Treasury, he has his big financial plan.
Enacted?
Yes, his financial plan. His financial plan includes the federal assumption of state debts, the establishment of a national bank, and federal regulation of industry. Federal assumption of state debts, establishing a national bank, federal stimulation of industry and regulation. 31. Slater's first textile mill is the beginning of northern industry. 32, the Bill of Rights is the first 10 amendments. We need to go through what's in those 10 amendments? No? Yes? No? Are we sure? Okay. 33, the cotton gin is invented 1793 by Eli Whitney. It's going to create a higher demand for slavery because they can process cotton faster. They can plant, they can pull all those seeds out of the cotton faster, so they can harvest it faster, which means they can plant more and harvest more. So it speeds everything up, so they need more slaves to plant and harvest.
Does this cost the money so they can buy more land?
The cotton boom, like King Cotton, yes, it does make that much. It's like, I know about the Bible Belt, I don't know about the black belt, other than karate. That's about all I know. Tim, come on! This is good. I hope my mom doesn't watch this. Hi, Mom! She'd kill me. 34. Washington's Proclamation of Neutrality, 1793, that the U.S. will be neutral in the affairs and wars of Europe. This is about the time of the French Revolution. This is between this is about the, try that again. French Revolution, conflicts between Britain and France and other countries, and Washington's U.S. is going to be neutral. We will not favor any side more than the other. 35, Whiskey Rebellion, 1794. Farmers are refusing to pay taxes, so George Washington sends the federal militia. Sends a huge number. It's the first test of federal authority, and it puts forth this idea that the government can enforce laws. They're no longer weak like the Articles of Confederation, that they can and will enforce laws. Washington's farewell address. Some of the big things in there, he warns of political parties. He warns of foreign alliances. And he gives this unsaid precedent of 2 terms. Washington did not want to continue to be president. He could have run some more. He might have been elected for more, but he did not want to set the idea of almost a monarchy of the same guy president for a long time. Unsaid precedent of 2 terms. It's not written down anywhere. It's just understood 2 terms is kind of the limit.
That's why FDR was one.
FDR is the only one, yes. It's not written down anywhere until after he is president.
I thought that there was actually a law against it now.
There is now, after Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who wins 4 elections, but he kept running because he could. It wasn't written down anywhere that he couldn't.
So people were like, we're sick of this.
Nope, they kept voting him in. They could have voted against him. He had opponents, they just kept voting him in.
So it made him vote against
FDR, he dies in office. That's why he doesn't run for anymore.
That's a good reason to not run.
What?
Died doing what he loved, I guess.
Where am I? 37, XYZ affair. This is moving into John Adams' presidency. The United States wants to end the French harassment of American ships. End French harassment of U.S. ships. But the French representatives demand bribe money from the U.S. diplomats in order to start negotiations. U.S. refuses and ends all trade with France for a while. U.S. wants to end French harassment of U.S. ships. They send some people over, the French representatives who are never named, which is why they're called X, Y, and Z, demand a bribe in order to start negotiations. The U.S. refuses, ends trade with France. 38. Alien and Sedition Acts are used in order to reduce foreign influences and increase the Federalists' power, like Federalist, capital F, because it's the political party. To reduce foreign influences and increase Federalists' powers.
And what happened to that political party?
Just died out. 39. Kentucky and Virginia resolutions is a response by the Jeffersonian Republicans to the Alien and Sedition Acts. It says that states should have the power to nullify federal laws. If it doesn't work for them or apply to them. Nullify federal law, make it null and void, not counting. And it also says in there that the government does not have powers specifically granted to it. Government does not have powers specifically given to it. I need to buy a stool or something.
Have the whole comedian set up over there, you know, you have a stool and you have water on the side.
Just make sure I'm in it. Okay, is my face in here if I sit? Or are we looking at like my neck?
You're good. No, You're good. it's like
Yeah.
Yes. Good, I can sit. Election of 1800 is also called the Revolution of 1800. It is the first turnover in political parties in the president's office, going from a Federalist with John Adams in Washington to the Republicans with Jefferson. 41, the Midnight Judges. Adams, in the last few days of his term, appoints Federalists to various posts, right, like last minute. Judges, postmasters. John Adams, in the last few days of his presidency, appoints Federalists or his political party people to as many posts as he can, because they were empty, and he created new posts.